Hey, hi, what's up? I'm Mayus. Today I want to tell you guys a story about when I used to work at the pet store, and it will be referred to as the pet store. Um, so when I was like 16 or 17, what year was this? Maybe 18, 17 or 18. I got a job in my hometown at a pet store that had opened like 2 years before. And it was my favorite pet store to go to. They had like the best deals, the best prices. They price matched everything. I loved going there. I loved talking to the employees. The manager liked me. I was like, oh shit, I think I have an in. I'm going to apply because hopefully the manager will see my name and be like, oh, yeah, that one's good. So so most of everybody who was hired was a minor. I must have been 18 because I remember that being a thing. Like, all of I think I was in my last year of high school, and most of my coworkers were in like sophomore year of high school. So I mean, and they were still cool, but not like for hanging out with purposes. And then I had an assistant manager there who was so fucking cool, loved him, miss him. He is not included in any of the complaints that I have about this place. He is the exception to the rule. He was fucking awesome. He did so much acid, and he talked about it, and it was fun to talk about, and like, I don't know. I'll tell you a good story real quick. So, this assistant manager was telling me, so, by the way, it's not technically the South, but I'm from the South-ish, kind of, sort of. People above it consider it to be the South. So, it's Virginia. So, so I was asking my assistant manager, I was like, so like, what kind of drugs have you done? And he was like, well, one time I accidentally took acid. And I was like, accidentally? And he was like, well, okay. So I was at a friend's house. We were playing video games. And they had sugar in a sugar bowl. And then they also had sugar cubes, but they were like in the fridge or the freezer or something. So he went and got himself a glass of iced tea, and they asked if he wanted any sugar, and he took some, plopped a couple of those sugar cubes into his drank, and he was like, and I'm a country boy, so you know I like my sweet tea. And I was like, yeah, I probably would have done the same thing. So I think he plopped like 2 or 3 of those fuckers in there. And then he's like, and like about a half an hour later, the wall behind the TV in front of me just starts melting down. And I was like, I don't know. I love talking to this guy. He was so much fun to talk to. But yeah, that was a really intense trip for him. And he was like, that was crazy. But I just will never forget the way he said, and I'm a country boy, I like my sweet tea. And then he was also like, and I'm a bougie bitch, so of course I took the fucking sugar cubes and not the regular granulated sugar. But that's all fucking besides the point. Working there wasn't great. I remember one day, so I think we had an employee, like, staff meeting, like, probably every 2 months, maybe once a month. And I distinctly remember the store manager saying at the third staff meeting I was at, do not drink the water. Well, why? Well, you guys all know it smells weird, right? Yeah? Well, I tested it for ammonia, and it's really high in ammonia, so I wouldn't drink that water. Oh, okay, we won't. We won't drink that. By the way, it's a pet store. Ammonia kills fucking fish. I mean, it kills everything, but the way that our fish tanks were set up, and this is pretty typical. They had like a sump filtration at the bottom, and they were like connected to each other. So tanks 1 and 2 were connected, and tanks 3 and 4 were connected. And tanks 1 and 2 were cold water, and tanks 3 and 4 were warm water, tropical fish. And we didn't have saltwater fish. We just had fresh water. And they always had redness around their gills. And after she told me that, I was like, oh, cool, we're giving them all ammonia burn. So that was disappointing to figure out. So then I started trying to rescue as many fish as I could. And I had like 6 fucking fish tanks at the time. I was a fish tank fanatic. I still am, but I don't have the ability to have fish tanks like I did before. But that was enabling for me. And that probably, like, hundreds of gallons of water in my, yeah. So, anyways, we were ammonia burning all of the fish to death. And we weren't supposed to drink the water. And then we also had, like, a dog grooming station, and then, like, I don't know what that was doing to the fur. I mean, it could have been, I don't know. Anyways, and I was small animals caretaker, so I took care of the live animals we had in the store, administering medication, feeding, cleaning, like, all of that shit. And my favorite part was the fish. So, but not only that, the fish were always sick from ammonia, they always had ick. They never fucking stopped. What, like, maybe for a week they would be ick free, and it would come back because it was stuck in the filter. And I recommended raising the water temperature, and they were not willing to do that. So we overdosed malachite green. And like, we used so much malachite green that I was like, oh, I don't even think this is fucking healthy. Like, never mind for us. Like, I mean, for the fish, it's not healthy. Like, but speaking of us, I went to my store manager and I was like, could we get some, like, could we use the malachite green less? No. Okay. Could we get some, like, elbow length rubber gloves? Why? Because malachite green is a carcinogen, and it's soluble in water, and we're sticking our porous human hands into carcinogen water. Which is fine. A lot of fish tank stuff is like that. And, like, I knew that that's what I was signing up for. But I was like, can we use it, like, a little bit less? Because I also feel like the fish are becoming resistant to it. That's why it's not working. We can dump some fucking aquarium salt and turn up the heat and try that instead of the malachite green. But that's the only other option. So they didn't listen to me. They didn't care. Every fucking week, these fish have a big-ass poster on every fish tank. Oh, our fish are sick. You cannot take them home. Come back in, like, 7 to 10 days. Like, and, like, we lost so much money on that shit. I don't know. Fucking irritated the shit out of me. So then, after she was, like, basically, I don't care, about the carcinogens, I went to our employee handbook and I read through how if you bring a workplace hazard, especially like a chemical or biohazard, up to your boss and they don't do anything about it, that's like an OSHA violation. Speaking of OSHA, we had a poster in the back that had like the office that we would use and like numbers to call and emails and everything, and you're supposed to fill it all in yourself, like, because everybody's is different. None of that info was filled in. Not a single piece of info was filled in. I remember, like, after that whole Malachite Green situation, looking at that, like, laminated piece of useless fucking nothing and how it had nothing written on it. I took pictures of that shit. I will insert the pictures if I find them. I don't know how far back I gotta go for that. I can also insert some pictures of, like, the sick fish. I mean, trigger warning. I mean, I don't like sick fish, but I can insert. And then, oh, the point I was making, sorry, I just totally jumped into a different thing. But the point I was making earlier about, like, it was bothersome to me that she preferred to hire minors because they did not know their rights. And, like, I know that's typical. That's a thing that happens a lot. She had a fucking 16-year-old girl clean up dog blood with her bare hands, no gloves. Dude, I was like, oh, there is a bloodborne pathogen risk for that one, girly. I don't think you should be doing that. And I go to my store manager and I'm like, we need some fucking gloves. Do we deserve gloves? She asks. Bitch? Bitch, what the fuck are you talking about? Do we deserve a Swiffer? Girl, huh? Baby girl, what? To keep your store clean and sanitary and to keep us protected? Do we deserve that? Yeah! Actually, it's against the law to not provide it. So, our fucking water is ammonia filled. We don't have gloves. We don't have a fucking Swiffer. She's making fucking 16-year-olds who don't know their rights clean up blood with their bare hands and shit, by the way, and shit. And, like, dude. So, I'm walking around the store one day cleaning, and there's this fucking foul stench, okay? I'm talking foul. And I'm like, does anybody else smell that? And they're like, oh yeah, we've been smelling it for a while. What is it? I don't know. Okay, so I started walking around, like, trying to have my nose lead me like a fucking hound to the wherever this disgusting, rotten, foul scent is coming from. And it leads me to into the cat aisle, underneath all of the cat food cans. At the very bottom shelf, in the very back, there's, like, I guess a can had busted open. But that wasn't the gross part. The gross part was that there were fucking maggots all over it. Like, maggots, living maggots, inside of the can. Like, it was busted for sure. Like, maggots inside of the can, real one, like not real one, living ones, and then the rest of them were, like, dried and dead on the outside of the cans. And, like, in those, like, fucking crevices inside. So basically, my store manager had me, I went and got her, and I was like, hey, I can go throw these away, right? No. Clean them off. Put them back on the shelf. I have pictures of that one, too. Bitch, you're gonna make me clean dried I was like, okay, but some of these do need to be thrown away, like the whole can, right? And, like, she let me throw away, like, 3 out of 9 cans. Maybe it was 3 out of 12. I don't know. No gloves, by the way. I was scrubbing maggots off these fucking cans. Why did I put myself through this? I didn't know any better. 1, 2, it was kind of my first real job. And honestly, I've had such severe anxiety throughout my life that I didn't know if it was appropriate for me to say anything or not, which sounds fucking stupid, because I was 18 and I should have been standing up for myself. And I did. I began to later, but it took a minute. And it was a lot easier for me to stand up for other people, like the girl who cleaned up the blood with her bare hands. So yeah, she had me scrub dried maggots off of those cat cans, put them back, no gloves. Oh, I threw a couple away without telling her because I was like, fuck that. That's disgusting. And that's really when I started like, oh, I definitely don't want to work here anymore. This fucking sucks ass. But I really cared about the animals and I wanted them to be taken care of properly. And I knew that I was doing that at least, or to the best of my ability. And it was bothersome to me to feel like, I don't know, I was just trying to look out for them. Yeah. They were all cool. I got a free hamster from that pet store because he had neurological issues. I named him Dumbus Dingus. He ran in circles. He had like an ear issue and it like really fucked with his equilibrium or something. And he was skinny and tiny and he always managed to escape his fucking cage somehow. And I would hear him at night going on something, I don't know what. But yeah, he was a good hamster. He never bit me. He just wanted, like, I don't know. He was a free spirit, if I've ever known one. Mr. Dumbus Dingus. Free-spirited, for sure. He was a good guy. After that assistant manager that I really liked left, there wasn't much of a reason for me to stay. Even as much as I wanted to take care of the animals. It got too much. My grandmother had been very sick for a long time in my life at that point. And one Saturday, and I know Saturdays are fucking busy, she was sick as shit, and I needed to stay home to take care of her, and I called out, and the next day I went in, they wrote me up, and I was like, I told you guys at the interview, I told you, like, there would be some times when I would have to put my family first because there is no other caregiver there. And they wrote me up for that. And I already had my resignation letter in my pocket. And they wrote me up and I walked out and I looked at that fucking employee, the girl who was, I mean, she was my friend, but the girl who was like, who had to clean up that blood with her bare hands. And I was like, I can't fucking do this anymore. And I turned my ass right around and I walked back in there and I said, I am leaving effective immediately. And thank God Virginia is an at-will work state. So she's like, so you're not even gonna finish out your 2 weeks? I'm like, I'll finish like what I'm scheduled, but don't put me on the schedule again. I'm done. And yeah. And that's just what I remember off the top of my head. There was some other fucking crazy shit that happened. But, yeah, I hope you enjoyed the story time. Hope you liked the video. Sorry I'm scrambled and my head is scrambled and my words are everywhere and nothing, I don't know. Have a great night. I hope you have a great day or night or whatever.